What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Off the Top Rope here, off the Mike Sports Network. We passed 2 years since AEW's biggest moment in their entire existence, which was All In London 2023, end of August, 2 years ago. And a lot of things happened on that fateful day. We obviously know Jack Perry, Real Glass, Cry Me a River, led to the fateful fight that led to CM Punk ultimately quitting, then being fired publicly, and then obviously, the footage that came out of that led to, a lot of public backlash, and really, I think what is ultimately led to the downfall. I'm allergic to bullshit. It's led ultimately to the downfall of AEW. I think, and this downfall needs to be studied because let's think about this for a second. They had 80,000 people in a stadium 2 years ago in London at Wembley Stadium. The year after that, it went down to 50,000. They couldn't run All In London, or they made the choice, and then they went to run All In Texas this year, less than 30,000 people. And they had 19,000 at the O2 for Forbidden Door this past Sunday. But you look at where this company was 2 years ago on that fateful day from Wembley Stadium. CM Punk was there, reluctantly, and, like I said, I've pinpointed a couple things as to what the downfall of this company was. But, Mercedes Moné was sitting up in the fans. Now she's kind of actively almost kind of sabotaging the women's division to its core. Like, even though, hey, we got 2 women's matches the year after that, but we only got 1 major women's match at All In Texas this year. And we've had back-to-back pay-per-views this year that have been followed up by residencies with less than 1,200 people. Like, how is that good? CM Punk, listen, WWE they're more profitable than they've ever been, but creatively, they're probably at their weakest point. And creatively in 2023, they were probably in a better spot. But listen, just looking at, my feed and seeing all this celebration of, oh man, 2 years ago, we saw this. Thanks, Drainmaker, who's the biggest AEW simp. And I'm convinced it's like a Tony Khan burner account that he pays for to ball wash everything. You just think about back to 2023. First of all, that All In show wasn't that great. MJF and Adam Cole main event, and it was a really weird, listen, it was fun, but it was kind of a WWE style finish to that. They won the Ring of Honor tag team titles in the opening match of the show. CM Punk and Joe was pretty good, but yeah, it was littered with a bunch of multi-mans, a bunch of tag matches, some good stuff on that show. But yeah, CM Punk was literally fired in the early moments of that show. Because remember, Jack Perry did his whole bit on the 0 hour on the pre-show. Walked back there, and him and Punk got into a fight right before the official opening to the show. And that's where everything changed for this company. And I don't think they've ever been the same. It started to trickle out, and the breadcrumbs started to come out when Cody Rhodes left in 2022. And then obviously Brawl Out happened. But they were able to kind of survive a little bit of that because, hey, MJF came back into the company. You still had Hangman Adam Page. You had pieces there. The Elite reunited in 2023. And there was some stuff that was going on. But then, once Punk was fired 2 years ago, it just it started this chain of events where the ineptitude and the lack of, the lack of control and the lack of leadership became a much bigger talking point. It had really been out there, but we've seen so many instances since what happened in London 2 years ago. And then, like I said, the biggest metric that I look at, the ratings are down, the attendance is down. Like I said, 2 years ago, you had 80,000 people in a stadium. This year, your big stadium show, less than 30. And then you went from 19,000 in London for Forbidden Door at your big London show this year to 900 people in the States. What does that tell you? You're running these residencies because you have zero confidence that you can fill basketball arenas anymore. This company, on a regular basis, was filling up basketball arenas and was selling lots of tickets and, getting close to like 800, 900, close to 1 million viewers on, on multiple episodes of Dynamite. And then here we are. Everybody's just like looking at this like, it's no big deal. Everything's fine. This is the best year we've ever had. I was like, do you guys realize like how insane it was 2 years ago to see what AEW was accomplishing on a regular basis? And now here we are, 2 years later, 900 people for an episode of Dynamite. Are you fucking kidding me? Really? That's okay for you? CM Punk 2 years ago, when this happened, changed everything. Really changed everything. Like I said, there was breadcrumbs. That was everything that was going out. And we may never know the full truth of what was going on with Cody Rhodes. That was really the beginning, but really the nail in the coffin and the downfall of what happened with AEW. And this needs to be studied at some point. It's what happened in that stadium on August 27th in 2023. Because this was supposed to be the biggest moment for the biggest competitor for WWE. And it turned out it was probably one of the lowest moments, maybe in professional wrestling history, because one of the biggest stars known across the world, CM Punk, gets into a very public fight that they ended up airing the footage for whatever reason, which also is a trickle-down effect of everything that happened in that stadium. And it basically took away what was supposed to be a momentous day for this company. And whose fault is that for letting the whole thing persist? It's Tony Khan's fault. Tony Khan had no control over this place. And it was just, the whole thing was festering and festering and festering. And it led to, you had a volatile personality that you couldn't control in CM Punk. But if you had real leadership, it wouldn't have gotten to the point that it did. And that's why, ultimately, that day in London is, I look back on that now and I think of like, holy shit, they had 80,000 people at Wembley Stadium. The fuck happened? It's almost like, hey, before that show even got off the ground, AEW put the nail in the coffin for themselves. And I don't know if I don't think they're ever going to be able to recover from it. They're not. Because how could you honestly think in your right mind that this company is going to have any chance of being able to rebound from this? They had less than 1,000 people coming off of a 19,000. And don't give me this crap about, oh my God, they had 19,000 people. Listen, if you're able to get 19,000 people for, one show, you should be able to parlay that into some form of success. They booked the residency. 2 years later, this company, I don't care what anybody tells me, the downfall of this company needs to be studied. This company is not in a good place, because how could you honestly look at yourself? Like, literally, I could talk from 2 years. I posted this up on social media. 80,000 2 years ago. 3 days before this episode of Dynamite, 19,000. They had 900 people in the building in Philadelphia. I don't care if it's the ECW arena. You're supposed to be the number 2 promotion in professional wrestling in North America. And you think that's okay? Look what happened. They've been still trying and reeling from and recovering from what happened 2 years ago in that stadium in Wembley. Just thinking about that, man, in retrospect. Anyway, thanks so much. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.